so we can get things rolling along here, even though I'm sure there are going to be more people show up. But that's all right. They can watch the recording. I'm Thomas Garrison, and over in that spot right there is Arthur Moorhead, my co-host. And I've been doing web development and SEO for about 25 years. Arthur's been doing it for about 20 years. So we bring a lot to the table, and we want everybody to know at least some of what we know. It's going to be a long time before you know everything. But we're here to answer questions, to help you out with all the different things having to do with SEO. And today we're discussing analytics. It's a huge category or conversation, if you will, about analytics. We're going to try to just scratch the surface because we've only got an hour. Literally, you could spend hours going through all the stuff about analytics. So that said, I've grabbed a site, but I want to start with how do you get there? Because I would bet there's a lot of people who are like, I know it's something that I need, but I don't know how to get there. So first question from me to you guys. Anybody in our group today who does not have a Google account? No hands raised? No, nobody saying no? Anybody saying, I just do not have a Google account? Okay, so we'll go on that premise that everybody here does have a Google account. That makes it very simple for you to get to your analytics. Okay, let me share my screen and I'll show you. I'll go back to here. If you just started in Google, get rid of these silly messages from Zoom. Okay, so we're at the main part of Google, and you're thinking, I have no idea how to find it. It's very simple. If I can spell today, just type in the word analytics. Don't do anything more, not how do I, just analytics. First thing that comes up is Google Analytics. When you click on that, it's going to take you, when you are logged in, up at the top right, you can see your icon, whatever icon that you use, and you see that you're logged in. Just click where it says Google Analytics in the search results. That's it. You're now in your account for your analytics. Now, I'm going to switch back over to this screen, but I also want to look and see if anybody has a question on that so far. Anybody, any questions about what I just did? Because if you find that that's extremely simple, you're right. That's all there is to getting into analytics. What happens after you get there becomes pretty complicated. Yes, and anybody who does not want to be on camera, as Arthur was stating, just turn your camera off. That's okay. Because we do record and it will go up into YouTube as a recording. All right. So we're into analytics. Obviously, this is not my site. It is one that I monitor. So we're just going to take a quick gander through it. And what we're looking for on the left side, we'll start here. Go to Home. That's where you're going to end up when you first get there. And you'll see the tab that I came away from. That's exactly what it did when I just clicked on the link from Google to go to Analytics. What you want to do is get your reports. After all, that's everything that you're doing. You can get an overall view of everything that's going on. Well, a lot of the things that are going on within your site just from the home. Rest assured that every time that you click on something, it opens up a bunch more stuff to get a lot more information. So you have to think about, how much do I need, or what do I want? In the home, I would say the next step is to go to reports, because you're going to get some extremely basic information from home and not really everything that you want to know. So let's go to reports. It's the second one down. This is where things get more complicated, because now you're trying to think, is there someplace in specific that I need to go? That's completely up to you. What is it that you're trying to find? And maybe I'll start here or stop here for a second and say, what is it that you're looking for that you can't find in your analytics? Because most of everything that you're trying to do is right here or in acquisition overview. So you get your basics. You can see how the traffic has come to the site and what days, how many people. When you hold your mouse over it, it shows you how many people came this particular day. And on this particular day, 1. This one had 5. And it shows you the date, doesn't show you the time, but you can get that information if you really need to find it. What kind of searches are being done to get to your site? Direct search mostly. What's a direct search? That means somebody had the URL for your website, whether they clicked on a link or you gave them the link to your website. That's how they got there. If they go to the search engine and type in keywords and found your site because they found a link in the results and they clicked on that, that is an organic search. Now, organic social means they came from someplace of your social sites that you have your website information. And they searched something, not your specific company or business, but they searched something in the social sites and found your link, and they came to your site. Unassigned, that means we don't know. Now, there is, you can get into a lot of the, meticulous if you want, but each of these things allows you to drill down to everything. So it's a matter of how much information do you want? And if you look, you'll see this box is very similar to this box, which is a bit different information. This is new users, how many new users came to your site. And this is just how many people came to the site. They're not telling you whether they were new or not. So you got 20 new users to this from organic searches. So that already is telling you a lot of good information. And then the direct, you had 17 who came directly, as I was saying, from a link someplace that they got from you or whatever it was. It's not something that they searched. Could even be that they have been to your site, they bookmarked the site, and then clicked on that bookmark. That is also going to be a direct link to your site. And that's kind of a good thing. If you find out that people are bookmarking your site, that's great. It's a return person, and you know that they are interested in getting more information. They want to be back if they bookmarked your site. Now, you can get into a lot of other stuff, but some of it is going to be kind of technical, and then it's a matter of, well, I don't know if I understand that part. And that's where it can take a tremendous amount of time to go through everything with analytics. So that's why I want to just give you some overview, which is what that first button was. This is an overview of the users coming to your site, the traffic. Then engagement is another part. I would suggest that you spend a bit more time looking at engagement rather than the acquisition, just because the acquisition shows you the total numbers and where they're coming from. But when you get to engagement, now you're looking at, okay, how long were they on your site? And this person, 3 minutes and 49 seconds. Then you go to somebody else, 0, let's see. Well, 0, not even a full second. That's bad. So if you're seeing these things where, well, let's see, that's under a second that they're on the site, chances are It's a mobile device that can't get to the pages of your site. So here is an indicator for you folks with a site, and we've talked a lot about performance. We'll talk about it again. But if you see that your site is not in the 90s for mobile devices, so you don't have at least a 90% page speed, then those mobile devices are just going to bounce, which means they hit the page, they're not going to wait more than that 3 seconds, and they leave. And you can see in a lot of these things, people are coming to the page and it's less than a second. Oh, sorry, they're 48 seconds. I'm reading it backwards. 48 seconds, so less than a minute, but even still, that's a little bit of time, 30 seconds, 2 seconds on this one. So obviously that one bounced right away. 38 seconds, that's not very much time. 0 seconds. When you're looking at this, here's one for 17 seconds. That means that they're not really engaged. There's another 1 second. So look at this line to see how long are the people in your site. And you can see up here, the average for this particular site is 1.4 seconds. So you can click on any of these things to get more information, but your overall 28 seconds. So average engagement time, 0.28 seconds. Engagement time per session, 17 seconds. So if your site has got numbers like this, it's time to worry and think about, how am I going to get, what do I need to do? And I think that's probably your biggest thing. What do I need to do in order to get people to stay longer? And you need to understand why they leave. There's 2 main reasons why people leave quickly. One is that the pages don't load fast enough, and 72% of your visitors are trying to be mobile users. Let me say that differently. Over 70% of the searches done in Google are from mobile devices. If they can't get into your site in under that 3 seconds, they're out. And if they do wait, and let's say the page loads at 4 seconds, okay, they waited long enough, then the page content is terrible. You can spin it however you want on that word, but if it's not engaging text, and it's not telling people how much you're going to do for them and not what you do, then they leave. They're not looking to find out what you do, what you want, and how great you are. Those are the things that I see in a lot of websites. That's not what somebody's coming to your site to find out. They come to that page in your site, whatever the site page is, usually not the home pages, though, as many of you know from being in our meetings, generally speaking, what's found in the search engine is not the home page. It's got too many things going on. So whatever page they get to is a page that does not have text content, which is pulling them in, which means they start reading it and they become absorbed in it, wanting to read more. That leads them well beyond the 17 seconds that we see here, or even the 28 seconds. You're looking for, a nice number. It would be more than 5 minutes, but if you can at least just get to a couple of minutes, you know that you have changed the text to keep people on the page long enough to be interested. But if you can't keep them for more than 30 seconds, there's something wrong with the text on the page. So that's what you have to look for. Okay, so now you're looking at, well, how do I know what page they're talking about? Down here on the right, you can see the various pages. And this one in particular is the most viewed page. And it's viewed how many times? 238 times. Session start, 75. You can get the user engagement, first visit, how many people of the total 238 were a first-time visitor. How many people scrolled? That's interesting. So they took the time to think, well, I'm at least going to see if there's something more on the page. So if you got 36 people who have scrolled and your average time is still under 30 seconds on the page, you need to combine those things, and you're looking at, holy crap, the page must be garbage. We're not even going to view the page. That's not the point of this. You need to understand that the content on your page is extremely important in SEO. It's extremely important in SEO because that is the entire crux of what a visitor wants. They came to your page for some reason. If you're not giving them a good reason to be there, they leave. So you want to make sure that you write your text, your content on the page for those people. What are you going to do for them? Answer questions. How is it that you're going to be able to best help their business or help them, or whatever it is that you do, whatever you sell? Make sure that you're telling people how that's helping them, because you are not who they came for. So they don't want to know how much you know. You can say, well, I'm a rocket scientist. Doesn't that say everything? No. How's that helping me? Same thing with your site. You're selling tennis shoes. I sell the best tennis shoes in the world. I want to know if you have tennis shoes for me. What kind of tennis shoes? Here's my situation, which they don't have time to explain. So you're going to, we have tennis shoes that'll make you fly. Anybody look? I'm looking over at the group to see if anybody smiled at that. See who's paying attention. Michael was, and Arthur was. All right, so user activity over time. Not very good for this site. And you have to understand something, folks. When you read these analytics, you'll probably do one of these and think, what am I going to do? Pick one of the two things first. I would, if I were all of you or any of you, I would pick performance first. Make sure that your entire site is able to handle mobile devices and desktops or laptops or tablets or anything, that the pages are fast enough to allow everybody and every device to get into your pages, all of them, not just one or two. Then go back and look at your analytics to see if that helped at all. If it did just a little bit, that's great. Now, when I say go back and take a look, I don't mean today is if that's when you made all the changes. I don't even mean tomorrow. You're going to look maybe tomorrow, and then maybe the next day. Maybe skip a couple of days and then come back and look some more, because that's going to be at least a week's period from when you made the changes to be able to look and see how things have changed. Welcome to the world of SEO. And my favorite saying is most everybody knows, SEO is an experiment. If you make changes to speed up your site, that is part of the experiment. And then you're going to come back here, look at your statistics to see if that helped your site. But you are going to know, because we've gone through this and I've sent you the tools. And if anybody wants the tools, let me know. I'll put that text file into chat for you guys. But you can use the Page Speed Insights, or you can use Lighthouse. There are many ways to test the speed of your site. What's the one that I'm thinking of, Arthur? Is it Gmetrics that you have to pay for?
Yeah, if you want mobile results for GTmetrix, you have to pay for it with GTmetrix. All they give you is just the desktop.
Right. And I wanted to make sure before I spouted that off, I wanted to confirm GTmetrix. If anybody uses GTmetrix to get the mobile page speed, you're not going to get it unless you pay for it. So There are a bunch of places that have free, like I've showed you, is PageSpeed Insights or Lighthouse. Those are places that give you accurate information without having to pay. Wendy says, tools, please. Okay.
Yeah, they all want to file.
Beg your pardon?
They all want to file the tools.
How much you pay me for it? Sue Ellen's going to pay a lot. All right, let me get down to my tools. Ooh, here we go. Tools. Ta-da! There you go, folks. That's the list of tools, and I keep adding to it. So at any time, you know, if you want an updated one, if you've already grabbed it, I might have added a couple things since then. Well, that's me. I'm always organized. Well, I think that I am anyway. All right. So, as I said, get that performance up so that you can come back here in a week and look at the statistics and see if they've changed. If they have, you're on the right road. I don't know that I would, well, SEO is an experiment. Try both. After you check the performance and you've increased the performance, hopefully you're up around 90. 90 plus from what we've gathered is what Google expects before they're going to display your search results to mobile devices. Let me say that differently. If you're in the search engine and you're doing well because you've checked on the desktop and you see yourself in the top 10 or 15, that's doing excellent. But that has nothing to do with mobile devices. You have to search either with a mobile device or know how to use Chrome or Firefox to search as a mobile device. And if you don't find your site listed, then your pages aren't fast enough. Even if you scroll down 100, you're not going to find yourself up in the top 10 just because you made a minor change. Go and look and see if you're listed at all. So performance first, so you can get into the search engines, and you need to hit that 90 or higher according to Google in order for you to be in the mobile search results. So let's just say that you hit 90 or better, and now you're seeing your performance in your analytics. You're seeing more people coming, spending more time. Then it's time to say, okay, now I'm going to update my text, update the content on the page. So you're going to do exactly what I've been trying to repeat in each meeting. Make that text inviting. Think about how you're going to talk to that person through the text that you wrote on the page. Obviously, you can see this site has not done that because the traffic is going down. And you can see over here, user activity over time. Got up there a little bit, and then along about March, it started dropping off again. Yeah, that's not great. So if you've got drop-offs, you definitely have something wrong. User stickiness. I like over the years, Google has decided to make changes to what they call something. It's like bounce. They don't call it bounce anymore. I forget what they call it now. Time on the page or interaction, or I can't remember exactly what it is. But the user stickiness, yeah, not too sticky. We saw that in other parts of the analytics, and it's dropping off. So that's not good. All right, now, let me see if we have questions on just this much, because this is the part that is most important. Paid ad trends. I know this person, I think they did some ads a long time ago, but I don't think much has happened in the last several months. Matter of fact, I happen to know that towards the end of the year, he had COVID. and he's only getting back into it now. But you can see even when he had COVID in the first parts of this month, things were picking up. Something just obviously dropped off the first part of this month. Couldn't tell you what it is. And no, I'm not taking care of the site. So I just happen to have this information because he eventually wants to do some things. Stickiness review. Well, the stickiness is how long are they staying on the site? So they call that sticky. If a lot of your users are staying on the page for a long period of time, that's considered sticky. That page is called sticky. So what's the stickiness of each of the pages? In this particular site, not great. So that was Bill that was asking that question. I hope that helped you, Bill. But any other questions? Because I don't want, this is so convoluted. I hate to move past here quickly. I wanted to hit the two main areas and then say, okay, now where are the questions? Thumbs up, hand up, no questions at all. You all know how to get here? Amber, go right ahead.
There we go. Hi.
Hi.
So I'm sorry, and I was driving during the first portion of this phone call, but I do have a question. So, and it was during some of the first like stuff that you talked about. So when you're in your the Looker Studio, whatever, when you're talking about a branded paid search, right? If you have your name as a keyword, does that count in the category of branded paid search, or would that end up like, where would that show up if I'm paying for my own keyword brand? I would say.
Let's back up. What do you consider a branded search?
So if I'm paying for Bottle Breacher, which is my brand, right? Our website. So if I'm paying for that keyword and they type in Bottle Breacher, where does that show up as far as like a channel?
First, I want to get back to, you've got terminology that I know the terms, but not when used in combination as you have. So the branding search that you're talking about, are you talking about doing an AdWords campaign? So you paid for a specific keyword? Okay.
Yeah. So like under the channels, under the Google Analytics audience overview, there's direct that you talked about, organic search, and then there's a branded paid search, referral. And you talked about that in the beginning of the call, right? So direct, to my understanding, is what you said, like they have your website link or they had it embedded in something, right? Organic search would mean they typed in a couple keywords, was my understanding, and we popped up.
Yeah, let me go back over here to acquisition overview. And that's going to show more of what you're talking about. But you have a direct, and then you have organic, and you have organic social, and then kind of an I don't know. But you've got sessions by your Google ads right here in the center. So that information from your ads alone is going to show.
So my page looks so different.
Are you using G4 or are you using the UA?
Oh.
Migrate to G4. It's not G4 yet.
Oh, it's not G4 yet. There's my problem.
There's your I just saw a notice today, and it seems to me it said this month, the end of this month is it. So you need to get that changed ASAP.
If I just click that button and migrate, am I good to go?
Pardon?
Is there any repercussions if I just click the button on Google and just migrate to the G4?
It's not going to harm anything if that's what you're asking. When you
Perfect.
switch the code, when you switch the code, Google will be happier.
Okay. Awesome.
And you'll get more information.
Our website?
So you do want to switch the code, and doing that is not going to harm anything.
Oh, you mean on the site that hosts my website?
Do you have a WordPress website?
We're migrating to a WordPress website. Right now we're on BigCommerce.
Good move. Enough said there. When you get into WordPress, how long is it going to be before you get the WordPress site up?
I should be launching tomorrow or Friday.
Then just put the G4 into that WordPress site now,
Okay, and don't worry about anything on my current site.
not on BigCommerce.
Okay, enough said. Understood.
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you, sir. I appreciate you guys. And thank
And
you
then-
for hosting this, by the way.
And then when you do, have you ever been into your analytics? You said that it looks completely different when you've seen it, so you must have gone in there at some point.
I mean, I've definitely been in it, and it's one of those things. It's been a whirlwind of a business acquisition for us. So, and you're welcome to go through my site and tell me how much of my stuff is wrong.
No, it's a matter of, I was trying to make sure that you know how to get into analytics because it's so simple.
No, I do. Yeah. No, yeah, I know how to get into it.
Okay.
And to your point, I love information. I love numbers, but it's a matter of like what you do with your numbers. And so thank you for kind of walking through like what are the next steps. I really appreciate that.
Okay.
You can know your numbers inside and out, but if you don't know what the hell to do with them, you're
Yeah, that's true. There you go.
yeah. So thank you. I appreciate you very much.
You're welcome. Michael, you had your hand up. We're going to let you just run chat for a little bit before I ask you to unmute. Okay, go ahead.
I was in another Alignable meeting this morning where people were talking about GA and or GA4. And one of the things that the host could not cover, and I noticed a lot of people had questions on it, was how to convert from the old system to the new system.
I wondered if we were going to get that question today. Let me back up for just a second, because what I was going to say, and I did see that in the chat for just a second. What has been used, the code that has been used for analytics since Rover was a pup, was called UA, Universal Analytics.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the code everybody has had. Today, and like I've said, it's been a couple of years that Google has been trying to push people into what they now call G4, the next version of analytics. It's a total upgrade, and it then also includes Search Console. We won't get into what all that stuff is, just the fact that there is new code, and you must change that in your site. So, Michael, keep your hand up, and I'm going to come back to that because I want to answer basic questions first, and then I'll move into that because I'm not sure how many people are going to be able to understand it. So I want to go slow in order to get into that, but it is through admin. Let me move to Michelle, then I'll come back to Michael. Michelle, you have your hand up. Go ahead.
Hi. Yeah. So essentially, how do I know which one I'm on? Like, where's the indicator to say that I'm still on UA versus G4?
Up until recently, it was, well, you had to do kind of a looking around, but I can guarantee you, if you go to your analytics right now and you are on UA, there's going to be a huge orange bar at the top of the page saying, that's going to be dead in a couple of days. So you know that you need to change it. And the reason that I know that is because I happened to go through one today and I went, oh yeah, that's an old site. I'm not going to show everybody that one. And yeah, it's using old code, and there's a huge warning at the top of the page. No matter what you do in the analytics, that bar is up there saying, change your code, change your code. Does that help you, Michelle? Probably, but she hit the...
Yes. Sorry, I just muted myself again. With that, I'm on Hey Leela, and it's a AI kind of builder. Do you have any suggestions or comments about that particular site builder in regards to the G4 and the UA?
Arthur is waiting for me to launch into something, and I'm trying not to.
Which page builder?
Well, she was just asking about page builders in particular, and she has one, but and you don't have to turn your mic off just yet if you have more to say, Michelle.
Okay.
But if you're on any page builder, you have problems. Depends on which page builder you're on, but you have different issues that you have to deal with. Now, what was the name of the one that you used? It wasn't one that I was.
It's Hey Leela, so Heyleia.
You ever heard of that, Arthur?
No, I've never
I
heard of
haven't
it.
either.
No.
Okay, what you get with page builders is convoluted website pages. When you go to a page builder, whether it's GoDaddy page builder, Wix, Squarespace, Weebly, Haley, whatever, if they allow you to build a website, you're building a website within a website. That's already a problem because it's going to be slow. You are creating a website inside of another website. Everybody here who's just got a WordPress website is going, I'm having enough trouble trying to get my WordPress website fast enough for mobile devices. Now imagine that you're a website inside of a website and try to get that page fast enough because you're dependent on the mothership. Is it fast or not?
So
If it's not, then you're dependent on them for being fast. And then you have analytics. So to answer your question specifically, Google and all the other search engines send out bots, and they allow their bots to go into a website, domain, whatever you want to call it, whether it's a build a site or your independent site, doesn't make a difference. They allow a specific amount of time for that bot to go into a site. Now, if it can go into that build a site and find yours fast enough, it will gather information. But what usually happens is it takes the time to get into that build a site. Then it takes more time to find your site, and they just are not going to do it fast enough. And Google has made it clear, we're not going to spend more time in these build a sites just because it's a convoluted mess. You have just same amount of time that we would send it to an independent site. So those are two big things that you have in a build a site. And then you have the situation where I can't do this or I can't do that. And how do I do? Well, now you have to hire somebody who knows that specific platform and how to do it. Chances of you finding somebody who's really good, based on Squarespace and some of these other ones, anybody that says that they call them the expert for that platform and say, okay, then we'll use you as a reference if somebody needs to have somebody do this particular work. It doesn't mean that they're great at it. And I've had a lot of people complain that they've asked somebody to do something in one of these build a sites and it doesn't get done. If it does, it doesn't get done correctly. Maybe Haley is different, but our experience with build a sites, they just come with a lot of headaches. Now,
Can I ask, are you building the site on their platform, or is this a page builder for WordPress?
On their website. So I go to their like / kind of thing. So where I can control my account and then I just move things around on my website, and it has nothing to do with WordPress or Wix or anything like that.
right.
Okay. Yeah, but there should be somewhere where you can add analytics code.
Yeah, each platform does it differently, but there will be some place that you can add that code.
Okay, thank you.
So you can at least get in the ballpark, and what you want to do down the road, that's up to you. You're battling performance issues and SEO issues with a build a site. That's what I was getting to. Okay, now, Michael, you're still there, but I'm going to go back to Amber because I know I'm going to launch into this thing about how to get into changing your code.
Hi.
It'll be quick for you, Michael, but for other people, it will be slow. Amber, go ahead.
Hi.
sorry, Michael Chase, like that's actually a really great name. It's my husband's name and actually where we met at Chase Bank like 14 years ago. So that's anyway. So I have two questions. One, we hired somebody to build our website, but now I'm second guessing something. So they said that they're building it through WooCommerce or through WordPress, but using WooCommerce as the host. So is that the same freaking thing as them being on me being on BigCommerce and using a page builder?
I know that you can install WooCommerce right into a WordPress independent site, but I'm
Okay.
familiar with somebody hosting on WooCommerce.
Well, no, not I and I don't know the terminology. I'm very sorry. I ran brick and
Okay.
mortar for 20 years before buying this company. So my next question is, if we didn't migrate to G4 since like whatever, what do you think the impact has been to my business because of that? Or is there an impact?
Well, your
Google-
analytics isn't necessarily harming your business. It's showing you what is happening with your business. So if you
Right.
don't upgrade to G4, your analytics are just going to go away.
Right.
Yeah.
And I understand that, but that's where, you know, when you were talking, you know, specifically about, you know, new code and everything like that and how fast the bots, you know, crawl your website, etc. If I'm last, and I am last, I obviously have to put the G4 code in, but if I've waited this long, and the only reason I say that is because I've been paying people to do this stuff, so I need to know what hits I need to make roll. But my point being is that, like, from an impact standpoint, at some point in time, I would think that because the code is so outdated, wouldn't that have an impact to how Google's crawling my site and how I'm ranking
No.
on?
What's going on with Google, if you don't move over to the G4 as soon as possible, they're going to do it for you. In other words, they're going to switch it over automatically. But the thing with G4 is you're going to lose your history from the UA. And that's why it's important to do it now before the change in July. So that way you can continue your history. You know, but in July is the end date of when Google's going to automatically switch everybody over.
And if they automatically switched me, I would lose all my UA data.
Right. Yeah, that's why you have to start now before, you know, so you can gather, you know, you're still connected to UA, but when you switch over to G4, it's going to pick up where UA has basically left off. So that way you're not going to lose
Yeah.
you know,
And
a lot of the data.
you know, just speaking to experts on it, that really, like, there's nothing in it for you guys to share information other than just being good people, because I think information is powerful, right? And it helps people to think for themselves and then spark conversation, right? But on that note, though, if I have experts that I'm paying to do these things, right? And like I'm building a whole new website. We were Shark Tank, like we were on Shark Tank, right? Bought it, blah, 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 doesn't matter. But anything that got deleted from before in UA, if I have experts from an SEO standpoint and a Facebook ad standpoint, et cetera, and nobody has brought this up to me, obviously they're using Google Analytics to walk me through things, I should probably second guess that team of people, is my takeaway.
Well, they probably got tools like SEMrush and other tools that are probably backing up that data.
All right, you're a good man. Thanks for backing up people like yourself. Thank you.
Well,
I really
to get to answer your question a little bit better, ask them what they use for analytics.
Oh, I've had them walk me through my Google Analytics, and I failed to kind of notice, I don't know, the big bar across the top of the Google Analytics screen, which is my problem. But anyway, I know what my ducks are now in a row, and I now know what to pay attention to and what to dive into after 10 months of this place. So
Yeah,
it's all good.
I mean, there's other tools out there besides Google Analytics.
SEMrush, heard of that. And then what was it? There's one more that a lot of people use.
Well, there's one out there called Matoma, you know, that also does it. I mean, there's quite a few
There was another one though that has been pretty popular besides so much Matoma I haven't heard of, but is there another pretty popular one?
Yeah, there's a free version of it, but if you're going to be storing your information in the cloud, it gets really expensive. You know, so
Well,
um,
this is my livelihood, so
right.
you got to do that break even
Yeah.
analysis.
I would ask the developers, of what they're using.
Okay, cool. Thank you so much, gentlemen. I appreciate you very much.
You're welcome. Michael, we're going to get to your question because I see several people have asked, they want to know how to change that code. So I don't want this meeting to be a second one that's done the same thing. All right, so whether you're using UA or G4, of course, you don't need to change it if you've already got G4. But the bottom left, you should have a gear in your analytics that says admin. See people kind of looking around, but you're looking for, and you're going to go into admin. When you click on that, you'll see this screen come up, and you want data streams. I could explain all these things, but you just want to know what's this 1, 2, 3 step. Go to data streams. In data streams, you'll see the site, your website listed. And then you're going to click on that one. And another screen pops up, drives you nuts going, holy crap, how is it going to stop? It doesn't. Now, the tricky part on this page is to know view tag instructions. Now, because this isn't mine, they're going to have it a little bit differently, but once you click on that page, you can actually go into install manually, and there's your code. Now, let me show that again. Once I'm going to close this, and we're going to go back to the start over. Click on admin. In the center column, click on data streams. Click on your website. Then scroll down to view tag instructions. Then, once you do that, you'll see this screen, which gives you information, blah, blah, blah. You can do this and this and this, and gives you instructions. Or if you just need the code, you don't need any instructions because you know how, click install manually, and you'll see the code. Highlight that code. So it's just this code. Then you click on Control-C to copy, or however you like to copy. You can even click on this icon over here that says copy, and paste that someplace, like in Notepad. So you have it, save it, then you've got that code, and whenever you decide that you want to change the code, you go into your site where the old UA code is now and remove that code, add this new code, save it, you're done. Does that make sense, Michael?
Oh, yeah. It makes clear sense to me. I just didn't have the tools to go through and do this for folks. And I tried to explain it to them. But, a lot gets lost with words. A picture's worth a million words.
Right. Because it is this simple once you figure it out. Because it is not simple to have found this method. You can dig through all kinds of instructions, and it's convoluted. Even Google doesn't make it simple to follow them. It's more of one of those, okay, I know I did this and this and this. I even got to the list here and thought, why is it telling me to go to property? I don't want property. I'll bet you it's in data stream. So I did it from just clicking around, been in and out of it so many times. And I know that what I just did was a simple way to get there because I just did it for somebody the other day. It's like, it is simple once you know how. What if you don't know how? It's a pain in the rear. And yep, there's instructions in this about where to or how to set it up in WordPress, but you should be able to get all kinds of information. Seeing if there are any questions that I need to address. Arthur's keeping ahead of me. So any questions about where to, oh, well, we do have questions. So I'll go back up here and go to Amber. Come on down, Amber.
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't have another question. I don't think my hand raising went down.
Okay. Then
Sorry.
how about Chantel? There she is. You got to unmute yourself. Not yet.
It's at the bottom of your screen. On the left side, you'll see microphone.
Bottom of the Zoom screen on the left. If you're in the bottom of the Zoom screen, bottom left, it shows the microphone. If you click on that, you should. If that's not working, does the microphone have a red X through it still? Or I mean, a slash? So it does have a slash through it.
Okay, click on it.
Click on that microphone on the screen. The lower left portion of your Zoom screen, click on the microphone that has the slash through it. It's in the left corner. Over there where you see, do you see the video icon? To the left of that is the microphone icon. Does that have a red slash through it? In your chat, is that what you're saying? I did. I asked you to unmute. There you go. Try it again.
Aha, there you go. It said host is not allowing participants to unmute themselves. So
you probably hit it twice because I know I hit that sucker and then I was going, okay.
We were in a cycle there. Yes, thank you. So first of all, thank you guys for doing this. I was actually at the same point there because when I logged into Google Analytics, it said that I needed to set up the data streams. Please. So it's funny that in looking for the steps to set up the data stream, it's very similar to the G4 steps. So I believe I'm doing the right thing.
Yeah, the data streams are getting the analytics code.
Yes.
And then it tells you how to set that up. So once you've got that code, save it someplace, and then you can have that and use it wherever that you need.
Yes. So I go in now. I log into my WordPress website, and I would just put it in there.
Yeah,
using the plugins.
You should have something plugin installed. The Google Sitekit is probably the easiest one.
Yes, I believe that's what I have.
And then you can add your analytics code there.
Okay.
You should be able to go through this. Should be able to go through the settings in your Google Sitekit and then see, oh, aha, script, and then you've got a bunch of gobbledygook, and that's what you want to replace. And you can look in that code, and if it says UA someplace, in fact, right there, there will be a number, and UA will be, I'm trying to think if it's before or after it, but it'll be either one. And if you see that UA and then a number, that's your individual number, that whole thing needs to be replaced from where it says script to close script. All that stuff needs to go away.
Okay, that whole code. Okay. All right, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, next in the queue is, I don't know if I can pronounce your name correctly, Shakila?
That was perfect. Thank you.
What do you know?
I don't have a question. I'm actually just coming in. I've actually done a lot of web stuff in my past, and I'm a notary public now. But I just wanted to commend you guys because the advice you gave about asking, I've had a lot of friends that have been clients of other web developers, web designers, and the first thing you want to do, if I can give just some quick advice, the first thing you want to do before you hire anybody you're a client, you get to ask questions. That's what the discovery calls and stuff are for. Just like they're asking you questions, make sure you do a little bit of research. You don't have to know all the different terminologies and stuff like that per se, but at least have an idea of what they're talking about. And if you don't know, don't be afraid to ask questions, because it is your hard-earned money that you're going to be investing. And you want to make sure that when this person builds the site and gives it to you, that it's functional, it's responsive, and that it's doing what you paid them to build it to do. It's supposed to be an extension of your business and a tool for your business. And you don't want to have to go through 3 or 4 or 5 different developers because they aren't grasping what you need. And then you kind of don't know what you need either. So just make sure that you ask a lot of questions. If you don't know something, you know, we have a lot of different search engines that you can use. Tom here is a great resource. So definitely, if I could give you some advice from my 13 years of being in the IT industry, is just making sure that you're asking questions. That's the one thing a lot of clients who do not do, don't do, especially if they're not from this web development or web design space. They don't ask enough questions.
I couldn't have said it better. That was very good. And you're absolutely right. The only thing that I would add to that, just like you said, it's your site. If you hear from your web developer, don't worry, we got it handled. You better worry.
Yes.
If they say, oh, no, you don't need to worry about this, or you don't need me to have that, it's time to find or even stop and retrain that guy or girl.
Yeah, because you don't want to be in the dark. You don't want to be in the dark. And I have seen a lot of folks be in the dark about stuff. Like I had a client many years ago who was paying like $900 a month for her site to be hosted on like a tunnel, something through Yahoo. It was so weird. It's just paying $900 a month. And I'm just like, why didn't you ask questions? She's like, well, I'm a dentist. I don't know anything about this stuff. Doesn't mean you can't ask questions. If you don't know, just don't throw caution to the wind. Make sure that you are investing the time to do your due diligence as best as you can. Even if it's not your industry or you don't know anything about it, do your due diligence, because a lot of times the contracts that you're signing with some of these web developers is, hey, if they touch your site, look at your site, even go to your URL, they're keeping your deposit, or you have to pay. Like, so just if you can, that will save you money. Because I hate to see people kind of, you know, get into that bind and then they don't know how to get out of it because, you know, they're not well versed. So I just want to commend you guys for even holding this event, and also for giving that great advice.
You're welcome. And we do stress that often. Don't be afraid of questioning your developer. Let's see. Wendy, go right ahead. Let's see if I clicked on that. Well, that might work.
Hi. Yes, thank you. I appreciate this. I appreciate you guys doing this. And so, yes, Arthur might have answered my question in the chat, but I was wanting to know, because I use GoDaddy, and I am one of those that went deep into debt, utilizing them for SEO and all that extra stuff, and did not pay for itself. So now I'm trying to figure it out. I didn't ask enough questions. I thought I did, but lesson learned. So my question to you is, how do I use that information in is it the G4, GA4?
Well, we can just call it analytics at this point, because
analytics. How do I use, do I have access for the GA4 to use that on my site through GoDaddy?
As soon as you change the code in your site, you will have the G4 screen.
Okay. And I have access to that. I can do that. They don't do it.
Yeah, I think Arthur sent you a link.
Right. You have to go to Google Analytics and sign up for it, and then get the code, and then give it, you know, then install it on your GoDaddy site.
So they have to install it. I can't install that code.
No, you can install it. That link I sent you will guide you on where to put it.
Great. I'll take a look.
And
I appreciate that.
The biggest question for you, Wendy, is you're kind of questioning, well, do I have it now? Isn't that true?
Yes, I still don't know if I have it. I probably don't.
Go here, go to Google, just type in the word analytics, and then Google Analytics will be at the top. If you are signed into Google, it will take you directly to your account of analytics.
Right.
I could check her tags real quick if she puts a link to her website in the chat.
Okay.
Yeah, I could do that really quick. So I want to be cognitive of everybody's time right now. I'm trying to get to the chat. There it is.
I'll let you
Sure.
chat with Arthur on that. I'm going to ask
Okay.
ask the Monroes to unmute. How are you guys? How's that go?
Good today, yourself?
I was just trying to say.
You're gonna get it all today.
What
Like always.
I didn't hear the first part of what you said, so I was trying to think. How does that go? Hi now. There you go. Monroes, how are you now?
Good, good. Yourself, Tom?
Not so bad.
Good, sir. Hey, so just touching on what Amber was mentioning the other day, kind of brought me back to our conversation last week. When she mentioned, was it the builder being on WooCommerce and then being hosted on a different platform? You and I were talking about, it was Jubal, if I remember correctly, right? That's the proper name?
Joomla.
Joomla. So if somebody was to build on a generic builder site and then use the page inspect option to get the HTML code to transfer over to Joomla, would that work as an easy switchover per se to transfer platforms?
Current platform is what?
In our case, it's Shopify. In somebody else's case, it might be a different type of store or a different platform.
I don't think that you can migrate from Shopify to Joomla, but that's what
I'm just thinking if you use the page inspect option to pull up your HTML code for each individual page, can you utilize that same code on Joomla? Because it just needs the HTML, correct?
You're first, once you're in Joomla and you want to switch the code, that's fine. You log into your administration in Joomla, but I'm not sure if that's the question you're asking.
For the actual builder, when you and I were talking about it, you could insert the individual elements and whatnot, but they all appeared as HTML. So in my mind, if I can get a hold of any variation of HTML, I should be able to utilize it. So if I've already got the HTML pre-assigned from my current website, theoretically, in my mind, I should be able to copy and paste it directly into the Joomla builder.
That's what's confusing me, because you're confused. Every platform today, I don't care who you name off, Shopify, GoDaddy, Squarespace, Joomla, WordPress, you name it, they use PHP. HTML is contained within that PHP. PHP does a tremendous amount of work. The HTML is basically just showing you static whatever, static text, static images. It's the PHP that's doing all the work. So when you try to migrate a website, you're not just migrating the HTML. You're migrating the PHP. And in every platform, it is written completely different. So you have to have a method to migrate from one platform to the other. You can migrate from WordPress to Joomla, Joomla to WordPress. Here, I just found one for you, is Joomla to Shopify to Joomla migration. Then there you can go into this one, pricing estimator, one-time pay of $129 for 100 products, 100 customers, and 100 orders. But it depends on the orders how many orders do you have? If it's 0, well, then it's going to save you time. So you look at that, say, okay, it's already down to 99. How many customers do you have? 0. Okay, so I don't have any customers. How many products do I have? Well, I have 10. Looks like $99 is the least you're going to do. Well, let's say I've got 10,000 products, but I still don't have any customers or numbers or orders.
Yeah.
Well, there's $429.
Gotcha.
But
That's
from what
not
I
bad.
remember about you talking about what you've got, I'm of a mind, and I'm still building a site that is a key site, but he's got thousands of products too. But I came up with a method that you don't need to have all the products in there. Now that was for him. There could be something that you could do with yours that's similar so that you don't have to put all that stuff in there. The original question that you asked though is for the migration of Shopify to Joomla, or of course they do Joomla to Shopify. It'd be the same thing, but there are several. There's another one, Nextcart, migrate Shopify to Joomla, but that's using Nextcart. You don't want Nextcart.
Okay. Well, I appreciate you sharing that. And it certainly clears up a lot of those other questions. I just thought it would help us kind of transfer almost seamlessly. But I mean, even if it's only going to cost us $400 to $800 to transfer over, that's still a drop in the bucket at the end of the day if it actually does it correctly and does what we need.
Well, and here's the biggest thing. Do you have orders from your site?
It's sporadic, but most of our stuff, we try to divert it because of the high service fees.
Well,
like paying almost 5% on our service fees as opposed to us just doing e-transfer and saving 5% for our customers.
What I'm getting to is that I think that you're only interested in migrating the look, which is your template, and the products. Isn't that correct?
Correct. Yeah.
Yes, no?
Yeah, no, correct.
Oh, okay. Sometimes the mic doesn't pick it up if you do a quick, yep. So what you're talking about spending a bunch of money, maybe $400 or $500, could be a drop in the bucket, but what do you get after that's done? If it's
hopefully something we can use, because right now we're
you don't know what you end up with. So for me to say, yes, this is the right way to migrate using this particular software, I can't tell you that because they all do it differently. And what you end up with, the end result, once it's already in Joomla and Joomla's happy with what you have, is it set up the way that you want or not? And I can't answer that until I see. So I would be going through a lot of these companies to say, I need to demo the thing to find out what's it look like once it's been migrated.
Gotcha. So it doesn't just grab it and take it over exactly how it is.
They don't.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good. Thank you. I appreciate that. You probably just saved me thousands of dollars again.
Migrating WordPress in Joomla, that's a different story because you're just looking at content, the stuff that's in it. But generally speaking, there are differences. So you want to know how much more work do I have to do after it's been migrated? Well, if it really wasn't worth the $500 that you paid, you might just go back and say, never mind. I can create the template and I can input the products that I want. And if you've got an import-export program, which you can pick those up for, I think I saw one around anywhere between $50 and $100 to migrate your products from CSV. So you just import those. And
so
you could do that
all the
with
CSV files that we seem to receive are all based on different platforms.
Yes.
Depending on whose site they come from. So they're never drag and drop.
Nope. And you could pull them out from Shopify and say, these are my CSV files. And then you need to find a software, an import-export software that reads the Shopify files. I think that I know one that could work, but I can't guarantee that. It's one of those things where, you're moving from one completely different platform to another is not a simple process. And you do need an exporter to do it. A migration is what's required first. What you're left with after the migration, that's where the question is answered. Did it work or not? If you look at it and you go, yeah, but now there's this and this and this that I have to fix. Well, then your migration wasn't as good as you wanted it to be. So that's critical, and there's no way to know. Michael's got his hand up. He might know of somebody that does. You know, Michael?
I'm here, and no, I do not know somebody that does that migration. That's kind of a real tricky process.
Yep.
One of the things I was going to mention, though, Monroe said go out and do an inspect and then copy the HTML over. And you mentioned that WordPress doesn't work. It works from the PHP files, and that's all correct. But he's not after the HTML. He's after the code, which is JavaScript.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the only portion that he needs to take. And if he picks it up from site A and moves it to site B properly, it should work.
I have to think about that one because I know your PHP, well, where the information is the biggest part. And I'm sorry for anybody who's listening to this who's not into coding, but when you're talking about a migration, that's all it's about is code. And yes, you do need the JavaScript, but the database is what decides what is stored where and how.
Yeah.
Shopify does it completely different than WordPress or Joomla or GoDaddy or anybody else. So every time that you're talking about a platform, they set up their database completely different. WordPress is nothing the same as Joomla. However, they've both been around for so long, there are several of them that can migrate from WordPress to Joomla or vice versa. So they're not that completely different, but you do need to have the database set up for whatever platform that you're going to use. And it's different from what you are using.
So wouldn't it be simpler just to go out to Google, pick up the code like you just instructed us to do, and pop it into your new website?
Well, he's talking about moving his entire website, not just analytics.
Yeah, okay.
So that's the biggest thing. If it was just I know today was about analytics, we got off kind of the tangent there, but still.
It's a good tangent.
And the Monroes are back.
And thanks again for that, Tom. And actually, I guess kind of going off the analytics side, if you're starting up a brand new website and you need to make sure everything is attached to it. We went through this and we still don't know if we have everything attached, but we found that there's, it's not just attaching Google Analytics to your site. There's like 4 different versions of Google that need to be attached and a few other things. Can you give us a brief summary of all of those items that need to be specifically, I guess, inserted into your website to make it perform properly, as opposed to missing one key element that might throw off your entire performance?
When you're talking about Google, you only have that snippet of code that we've discussed and showed how to grab and change that in your website. So any other platform that has a bunch of stuff that they're doing, that's what they do.
I think, Tom, is what he's trying to say is, that you set up your Google Analytics, but you also set up your Google Search Console. What other key things to set up?
That's true, you do, but that's different than the website. So I was under the impression that you were talking about what do you need for the website to be set up? And that's true. Your Search Console and the analytics, yes, you need to go through them to make sure that it is set up right. Arthur had something he wanted to add. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, see, there are things that Search Console does that analytics doesn't. Search Console gives you performance reports. It lets you know when links are broken, when you get 404 errors and that type of stuff. And there's also other information that you can get that analytics will not give you, like which page are getting clicks, for instance, you can find in Search Console. The other thing is if you are doing any kind of tracking of for conversions, I would suggest adding Tag Manager to it so you can adjust, because if you're setting up analytics to track your goals, you're going to have several tags, and those tags need to be, instead of putting them all on your website, you put them on Tag Manager. That way you got all your tags in one spot rather than having to dump all the code into your website. So my recommendation is Google Analytics, Google Tag Manager, and if you're running a lot of tags, you don't need Tag Manager if you're just running one tracking code, and then Google Search Console.
No, I think I'm getting I guess I'm misinterpreting this, or rather not conveying it properly. I'm thinking items like robots.txt and that, so that Google actually searches and properly analyzes everything, because we went for like a year and a half without even having that attached because we didn't know about it. So if those key items are missing, we were never going to get found on any search. So what would be a list of those key items, in addition to being able to have the back-end data that you can actually use from an analytical point of view, but what are the key items that need to be attached to your website so that you can actually see the basic performance and, I guess, have a chance of ranking?
When you're talking about the robots.txt and anything else, when you set up WordPress and or Joomla, they have those, so you don't have to worry. If you're running something that doesn't automatically put in the robots file, then it's a questionable platform, in my view, because they just haven't been concerned about putting that into each site. But when you set up WordPress, it's there. And you set up Joomla, you just install Joomla and you have that. You've got the htaccess, which you could use. I don't ever recommend people touch that unless they know exactly what they're doing, though. Similar with the robots.txt, you can render that useless if you put in the wrong code. It's not as critical as the htaccess. That's like, just do not touch that. But it's there if you really know how. Because if you make one wrong move in the htaccess, it will just literally take down your site. So the robots.txt, you can pretty well just kind of say, okay, well, I see that there's this in there. And it's got the generic information which says we want all bots to have access to the main pages, but you can't access the administration and stuff like that. So it's done for you when you install WordPress or Joomla.
Do you have a WordPress website?
No, like I said before, we're on Shopify. We've used Wix, GoDaddy, a lot of those other pre-builders, and I don't believe they have that pre-attached. You have to actually go in manually, get that piece of code and add it into your main page files.
Oh, for the analytics code, yeah, you have to install that code, of course. That usually under their marketing. In Wix, I think it's under marketing. I believe at Shopify it's under marketing too.
So we had to manually install it. So
right. Yeah, but robot text and XML file, sitemaps and stuff, that should already be there.
Yeah, and under the Shopify platform, it all had to be manually added. And we slowly found out over the course of a year and watching hundreds of hours of, reviews and garbage, we found these little tidbits of information that was like, oh, you're missing this. You better go look for that because that's important.
You were actually missing your sitemap and robot text file?
Yeah, they weren't actually linking up to where they were supposed to be.
Wow. That's a new one on me.
It was an interesting experience, that's for sure. It also explained a lot of things, because as soon as we turned it on, you can see from our analytics that things kind of made a big jump almost immediately.
that the Monroes have been in a situation for the last couple of weeks, and they've got a really bad headache from doing this so many times in the last couple of weeks.
I bet.
If I knew then what I know now.
Yeah.
Well,
If I
that's
could go
why
back
we're
a year
here.
and a half ago and meet you guys, you would have saved me thousands of hours of headaches. And I certainly appreciate every minute of it, guys. Always.
Well, we're thinking about bringing this up into a larger platform. You know, Tom and I have been discussing it, you know, to bring it, you know, to bring it outside of Alignable to give easier access, because there's a lot of Alignable. There's a lot of people out there that don't have Alignable accounts, you know, and we're discussing about bringing it out into a larger platform. So
I think it's just the fact that nobody knows it exists. It's like they say, you know, the best part about marketing is how do you bring out a social media platform? Let's say Facebook, LinkedIn, something like that. It only works because I'm on it and you're on it. If the other party isn't on it, it doesn't matter what you put out there.
Well, everybody has to understand that Alignable is not social media. Yeah. It's not a social media platform. It was not designed to be a social media platform.
Well, I certainly appreciate you guys putting all the work in you do.
Thank you for the segue.
Cool.
Thank you for the kick. I tell myself that all the time, but in terminology for all you people, we're trying to return to streaming, and I have it set up, but we haven't tested to make sure that it's all okay. I see you, Amber, and we're getting there. I see you've been over there dancing, but until I have been testing everything to say, yes, now it's ready. Once I do those tests, when you click on the image that says join or register for the event each week, you'll still go to that same thing. It will take you someplace for that registration. It'll be just as simple. It just won't be on Alignable.
Correct. Yeah.
So it's a lot more convoluted for me technically, but for you guys, it'll just click on that. It'll take you to someplace different. It'll be slightly different as far as the way that you register or something, but you'll be done and you're ready to go. Amber, you've been dancing over here for a while.
Yeah, just because whatever you guys are trying to do to take it bigger, we've learned so much about social media, and because of purchasing this company from Shark Tank, our social media following is huge. And I would be happy to promote or put any links on there. We purchased this company from Kevin O'Leary, Mark Cuban, and now U.S. Congressman Eli Crane for Arizona. And I stumbled upon this source, right? And I'm so lucky that I did. I would be happy. Eli and me and Jen are friends. I would be happy to give anything that you guys need. This has probably been one of the best things because, and I doubted even spending the time doing it because as a business owner, you don't know what to spend your time on. So, sir, whoever just spoke, you can waste 100,000 hours doing stuff. And so you get caught up in the weeds. And, you know, for us, we manufacture everything in a house, and I could go all through it. It's very complicated. At the end of the day, you don't know what to spend your time doing. But what we learned after 11 months was SEO is something that's what you needed to spend your time doing. Mm-hmm. And understanding those things. And for anybody out there, you guys have just been probably the breath of fresh air that I needed, and just listening to dialogue. Twitter Spaces right now is huge. There are so many people on there, right? And there is just so many avenues to get this stuff out. I would be happy whatever you're ready to go. I think my email is somewhere out there. I don't really know, but please, we would be happy to leverage our Facebook following, our Twitter following, anything on social media, TikTok, and I'm still learning about that. I learned about Bitcoin for the first time yesterday on TikTok Spaces. It's stupid. I'm too old for this crap, but regardless, gentlemen, you guys must be like old IBMers or something, because y'all know your stuff is all I gotta say. Seriously. So just thank you so much. I genuinely appreciate it. So whatever I can do, I am happy to do it. Eli is happy to do it. This is like a handshake agreement basically. But just thank you. I appreciate it. So
Thank you. Thank you for the accolade. And we may end up taking you up on that. I do have the Facebook site set up, and I've been doing some streaming a few months ago. We stopped because Zoom just got in the way and caused too many problems. So that's where I've been, is saying, okay, then we want to set it up so we just get rid of Zoom, but we're still going to be addressing.
Y'all can help me on the SEO side. I can help y'all on the social media side and making stuff look like and pretty if you'd like. So
there you go.
Anyway, just thank you so much. And I'll probably reach out to you with some new site questions, because my new site's gonna look awesome. It really is.
Thank you.
Anyway, please reach out. Happy to do anything for you. I will leverage anybody that we know. So thank you so much.
That sounds very good. Thank you, Amber.
Absolutely. On that note, I gotta go. We have photography happening. Thanks so much. I will listen to YouTube. Appreciate you.
Thanks. Bye. And Wendy, it's going to be simple because, like I said, you just click on the same event icon image in our group, and that'll do the rest for you. Nobody's going to have to mess a thing. Alignable people will still find us in the same place. The group's not going away. We're just expanding, and doing that by going back to streaming, and we'll be streaming to Facebook, YouTube, my own website, all at the same time, so people can get to watch it at any place. The only main difference when we stream, instead of everybody having a gallery view and being able to talk that way, it's there isn't the view. You would have chat and then have to look at our mugs or whatever we're sharing as far as the screen. And then if you want to come into the stream, you ask to do that, and we can invite you in, and you're in. You don't have to do anything different with your computer or anything.
Yeah, the streams are going to be mainly for our, the main part of what we do, but we're going to have more advanced type meetings, which we probably will use them, but for the most part right now, I mean, we're dedicated to what we have right now. We're not going anywhere as far as that is concerned. It's just things that we've been planning on doing. So
just look for this in either WordPress or YouTube, anywhere around. Just look for SEO Tom. Wendy was asking that. So there's a Facebook account in there. I believe it's either one or the other. Where we'll be streaming to is the SEO Tom, but I believe you may also find it under Tia Garrison LLC. So that should answer you. Got it. Cynthia, you have a question. Come on down.
Oh, hey, how are you? I've been following along the whole time, and I'm so appreciative of all your help. I am just installing the plugin, and it is activated. The instructions tell me to go to the left-hand menu and select set up SiteKit, but the Google emblem is not showing there. And I did do a refresh, thinking it'll show up, but it hasn't. And so I'm kind of stuck here. I don't know how to get in to do the setup.
I may have this already. I did.
You're using SiteKit, right?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
And like I said, I can see it in the list of installed plugins, but it's not showing up individually at the bottom there for me to click on.
You probably are stuck a little bit, but
I am definitely.
Did this before the meeting and saw, oh, I guess that could be a snag for somebody. Plugins, oops. Come back here.
Right, that's where I am. I don't have
it. When you first install it, it says you need to go set it up. And I stopped at that point and thought, that's all right, I don't need to do all these
things.
But
I didn't have that selection. If you go back a step to the main menu there, it just says SiteKit by Google. and then it says deactivate, but it doesn't have that settings button that you have to click on. That's not there.
It sounds to me that did you install the plugin or was it already
Just
there?
now. Yeah, I just installed it just now as we were talking.
Not sure why you wouldn't have settings, unless the only way that you wouldn't have settings is if you're not an administrator for the site. Go to your users.
Oh, I definitely am. I'm the only one. Yeah. Do you want me to go to users?
Yeah, go to
ahead.
users. Just look over here to the right and see your role.
It says administrator.
Okay.
Okay.
I would uninstall and then reinstall it.
Uninstall it. Okay. I can do that. All right. So I guess just deactivate it and
right.
How do I uninstall it then?
Once you deactivate it, you'll have that option, or you should.
Do I have to delete it, like check it, and then?
If it says delete, then yeah, delete it.
It doesn't say delete. It just says, I'm sorry. Oh, wait, here it is. I'm sorry. Okay. All right. I'll go ahead and delete it and then download it again, I guess.
Yeah, then just go back into add new, and you can type in SiteKit, and it'll be the first one.
Yeah, you do have a Google Analytics account, correct?
Yes, I do. And I did exactly what you said. I copied the code snippet and everything.
Okay, because usually with SiteKit, it'll make the connection for you.
Well, the first time during the setup, it's going to, I've got several, so it's asking me which account. I didn't want any of them, and I don't have this particular site because it's just a site that we use for these purposes, just to show stuff. I don't expect any traffic. I don't want any traffic. I don't even do anything with it other than just, we use this for testing kind of stuff. So I don't have this set up in Google Analytics. So I stopped at the point where it was saying, okay, well, then we need to have
that worked.
Complete the setup. And I thought, well, so that worked. Do you now have settings?
Yes.
Okay.
It transfers me right into that where the setup set up the SiteKit is. So I'm perfect now. Thank you so much. I do appreciate
the bouncy
that.
ball and you'll be fine.
Yeah, sometimes you gotta uninstall, right?
Yeah, WordPress can be kind of wonky sometimes.
It really is. It really. Thanks so much for all your help today. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
All right. Have a great day.
You too. Any other questions before we go today? Nothing? John, it must have been a good joke. What was that? Thanks for joining us, Shakila. And John, you need to unmute yourself if you want us to hear your rant.
You probably got to let him unmute himself. He's probably locked out.
I did that once. Maybe I'll do it again. You're still muted, John. It's that technical stuff. Bob, you had your hand up for just a second, but you're probably leaving. There you went. Bye, John or Bob. Well, okay. Any other questions? I guess not. Well, that's it for today, folks. As Porky Pig would say, that's all, folks. All right, I'll stop the recording and thank you guys for all the nice words today, and thanks for joining us. We'll see you again next week.